Hello, welcome to first session on Python. So today we will be discussing about what are the variables and what are the different data types of variables. So I am starting this session thinking that you already have Python installed and also VS Code. So we will be using VS Code for writing programs. So let's start. I'm just firing up my VS Code. So usually when you open the VS Code, you have like no folder selected. So either you can just create a new file. So let's create a new file, and we'll be using Jupyter Notebook. So why we are using Jupyter Notebook is that it gives us like an output for every line. In the normal Python, I'll just show you how they differ. Don't worry. So let's make a Python file, and also we have a Jupyter Notebook. So I'll be explaining you in the end like why I'm using Jupyter Notebook and how is it different from normal Python file. So let's start with what are variables in Python. So at first let's see like what it means, like what are variables. So variables are nothing but, I'll be just writing whatever the definitions are in using this hashtag command. So let's start with variables. Variables are actually, they are just entities which stores the value. So what do you mean by storing the value? So let me just finish this. Pardon me. So let's start with what is storing value. So whenever we talk about storing value, actually the storage actually occurs in the RAM. So RAM is nothing but random access memory, like whatever your applications or whatever are running in your laptop, they are actually use the storage of RAM, and ROM is like your like hard disk, or you can call the external hard disk. Like these are the basic definitions. So let's just talk about variables. So we have already learned like they are the elements which store value. Let's see in Python how variables store the value. So let's just talk about what are the data types in the Python first. So we have int data type in Python. What is int? Int are like integers, and integers, whenever we talk about integers, they can be negative or 0 or positive. So in integers we don't have any real numbers. So when I talk about real numbers, these are the numbers with decimal point. So in Python or any programming language we actually call them floats. The next thing is, or next data type which we are going to learn is string. String is nothing but collection of characters, and the last one is boolean. Boolean are nothing but true and false values. So let's see like how we declare these variables in Python. So let's start with coding part now. You don't need to worry because I'll also give you the coding notebooks, so that you can practice. So let's just talk like how variables are storing values in Python. So first one which we talked about is integer. So in Python we just store value by using syntax of this kind. Variable name and is equal to is an assignment kind of thing, and you're assigning this variable some value, and this value can be any data type which we discussed in this cell. Okay, so next thing which we will be seeing is like for float also we just use same kind of notation, and but what happens is that in any language, whenever you are assigning, like suppose if I am assigning here x is equals to 1, and again if I am so we use print to print in Python. So when I print, what happens, it will actually just give me a second. I actually did not activate my Python, so you can see that here there is printing 1, but when you again do the same thing and I try to store 6.5, so it will update to 6.5. So whenever you are using a variable and if you are assigning a particular value and you think that you don't want to change the value, then you should always change the variable name. So the next thing which we'll be seeing is like we saw that floats are like decimals and integers are just numbers without decimals. They can be negative, they can be positive. And the next thing which we are going to see is like string. String is nothing but collection of characters. Whenever we talk about collection of characters, it's like a sentence. So suppose this is a Python class, this can be a string, and if I just print x now, x will be, this is a Python class. So that's why I told like you have to always name your variables differently when you don't want to update them. So now if I'm printing x here also, it will be printing this is a Python class, and if I print 5, it will print 1. So here you can see that x is equals to this is a Python class, and we can see that after printing we are getting this is a Python class. So next one we saw that there is boolean true and false. So let's see so how we are going to use this boolean values and how we are going to assign boolean values usually. So just let's start with boolean values, and so always see that the syntax should be in the same like syntax, like this is case sensitive actually, this boolean value. So when I'm using suppose boolean true is true and I'm printing boolean true, you can see that it's printing true. So if I just change the case, it will give us an error. So these boolean values are case sensitive. Even for false we just go for FALSC. So you can see that the first letter is always capitalized. So if you just remove it again, you will get an error. So the next thing which we'll be discussing is how we can actually see which type a variable is. This can be done very easily by using type function. So I'll just comment it and type function. So how we will be using this type function, and as of now we did not discuss anything about functions, and this is a starting session, so I'm just calling it a function. Okay, and function always has this kind of notation when we are using. So we never call it like we are using a function, it's like we are calling a function, and function is always called like this, and inside this we usually give some parameters. So the parameters can be anything. We'll be learning about functions in further sessions, but let's as of now see like how we will be using this type function. So suppose we are having this variable y. So I told that this is int. Let's check with y variable. You can see that it's giving int. Now let's go and check for z or z. So this is a float, and if we are checking for type x, sorry, it's a string. I told you the string is a collection of characters, right? And let's even go for boolean, which we made, and you can see that it's a bool value. So this is about like what are variables, what kind of data types that does Python support, and how you will be checking like what is the type of variable. This is about this, and let's also learn about some things like type conversion. So what is type conversion? Sometimes what happens is that you want to convert a int data type to float data type, or you want to convert a int data type to boolean data type, or sometimes you want to just convert a string into int. So this happens like when you are writing huge programs, even like small functions, this thing happens. So how would we convert? So there are many ways to convert. Actually, there are many libraries in Python which we use for conversion, but as of now we will be starting from the beginner point. So suppose we are having a float variable such as 4.5, and if you want to convert this into int, we just use the int function. So when you are seeing I'm saying that we will be using int function, you can see that we are just taking the int function and giving it parameter to be the value c, which is storing 4.5 value. And the same thing like type function, we are just using type, and we are giving the parameter of the type we want to know. So the next thing will be like you have already like guessed, might be like for converting, suppose we are having an int variable and you want to convert it into float, so we'll be using again just float. So now you might be thinking like we are not using any print statement here, but still we are getting a value and it's getting printed. So in Jupyter Notebook actually we don't need to use print statement. When you are giving anything without any print statement, then the notebook itself recognizes and it just prints it. So we have talked about float and everything. So let's see, what if I just go for string and I want the variable to like I want to know like if this can be converted into string. You can see that whenever I type string, it is enclosed in double quotes. So string is always enclosed in double quotes here also, and also you can also declare a string with single quotes. Let's make a single function and just reckon this is a tiger or something like that, and just see like this is a tiger, it's getting printed, right? So let's also remove this error. You can see that false is getting printed. So what happens in the boolean case? Let's see. So if we are having v which is storing 4, and I want to know if what is happening when I use the bool function. So you can see that it's giving true. So now you might question like for what it will give false. So if you want a boolean to give false, you have to always give a variable which is 0. You can see that you are getting false. Next thing is that if I am having a int variable and suppose it's like 5, and let's not just name it int, because let's take it as h and it's an int variable, and I'm having a float variable, suppose 4.5. Now I want to know the total and h plus x. So, and I'm just printing the total now. Can you just think of the answer? Will the answer be integer or will the answer be float? So you can pause the video and think, or let's continue, because this question is actually very simple. What happens is that you can just see, if I just run this cell, you can see that it's a float. So whenever you are adding something to the float, integer, or multiplying it or dividing it, it will always be a float. Now you might think, like we have just seen, like converting an integer into float, converting an integer into string, converting an integer into bool. And what if I'm having a boolean value, and this boolean value, let's just name it as again our favorite boolean value, okay, and in the boolean value itself we'll give false. Okay, now if I want to convert this boolean value using int, what will I get? The answer. So we can see that any value other than 0 will give us true. So if we are having a false, so what it will be giving us? Yeah, you have expected it correctly. It will give us 0. And if we had true here, we would have got 1. So usually in mathematics also, or in like truth tables, if you have learned, we use 0 and 1 to denote sometimes like false and true. So it's the same case here. So let's think of one more thing. The first thing is, like, unless you assign a variable, even you are converting it using float, that doesn't matter. You can see that even after converting, after doing all these steps, one might expect that the variable type might have changed, but it did not change. I will just show you. So variable is still int even after going through float conversion, string conversion, boolean conversion. So okay, let's just, I just wrote 4 here. Again I'll show you. You can see that still it's int. So unless you assign the variable to the v value or any other value, the variable will not change its type. So suppose I am giving v as float now, and I'm running everything. You can see that now type becomes float if I am assigning it to bool. So unless you assign it, the type will not change even after using your function. We'll be learning like what bool is doing in the functions chapter. So as of now, let's learn some string functions, just for knowing like what string functions are doing. So suppose let's just take, this is a Python class again, and when we print it, you know that we'll get this is a Python class. So suppose you want to convert this whole thing into uppercase, what will be you doing? You will just use upper function. Okay, so what this upper function does is that it converts whole sentence into uppercase. So here sentence means string, but for more intuitive understanding, I just wrote it as a sentence. So how we will use the upper? So we have saw that even print is a function, even type is a function, and also we have I think int, float, these all are functions. But when it comes to string, okay, what we actually see is that to convert it into uppercase, we use a function, but it's not actually a function, it's a method. So method and functions are actually different. So methods are actually present in a class. So classes, objects and all this we will be learning in object oriented concepts. But as of now, just think that the string is an object and object has some properties. So as of now, this is the string and we have stored it in x value. So this x value will become a string object, and this object actually has some methods inbuilt, and these methods are, let's see, x dot upper. So upper, what will it do? I told you, right? It will convert a whole sentence into capital uppercase. Now if I want this whole thing, it's already in lowercase, so I'll just store this upper into x, and now if you see the x value, it's capital whole thing. Now if I want to see the lowercase value, I'll just use lower function and it will give me this, the Python class in the lowercase. Now I'll just again do the same thing which I have done, and now if you see the x, it is actually in lowercase. Now what we can do is that we can see there are another function called as title. So what does this do is like it capitalizes every word of the sentence. So whenever we write some title, what we do is like we capitalize starting of every word. So for such purposes, this is there. So next thing you might have think like, what if I'm having two strings? So two strings in the sense I'm just talking about two sentences. Let's see what will happen in such a case. Suppose I'm having a string called 1, and this string has something like the octopus, and string 2 lives in sea. Now what we have is string 1. So already I told you like this is the variable and you are storing the value of string here. Again I am repeating, and is equal to is used for assignment operator, like you are assigning this particular string value or sentence to this variable, and you can have any name for this variable. But there are some rules, like you cannot start this variable using a number, and there cannot be any special characters except for underscore. I'll just write it here. The first point which I told was like any name for variable is accepted. The next thing is like only one special character is allowed, and which is underscore. It cannot start with number. So let's see what will happen if I'm just renaming one gh as a variable and I'm giving yeah as its string. C, invalid syntax, because we are starting it with a numerical value. And the same thing, let's do one more thing, like ya into ui, something like that, and assign it to 5. So you cannot do even that. So any special symbol we can use, like let's even try for @, okay, it's also a special symbol. But the same thing if I'm doing with underscore, it is getting accepted. And it cannot start with number, we have already dealt with, and any name is okay for the variable, but you have to follow some rules, and these are the rules, general rules which you should follow. And the next thing we were talking about is like string concatenation. Concatenation is nothing but joining two strings. We already have string 1 and we already have string 2. To join them we actually use plus operator. So plus operator how we will be using it. So if this is string 1, we'll just use string 1 and string 2, and you can see that yeah, the octopus lives in C. But you can see that we have seen the print statement from the starting, and I did not explain it because like in the end I was going to explain like if when you got the idea that why we are using print. So we are using print just to get the output or just to see the output, and you can see that we are getting the output like string 1 plus string 2, but you can see that yeah, here there is no gap. Okay, we'll be learning about it in the upcoming sessions, but if you want to add something, you can just try this, and you can see that still nothing happened. But in the codes, if you are mentioning a space, you can see that there is a space here. So in space, even like in the double quotes, even space is considered as a character. So according to that, we are joining the strings. So this is all about string concatenation. You can just try this with a different example if you want to get more insights. But just also we have to also see one more thing, which is called as strip. So what is strip? Strip is nothing but many a times we get data or strings from various API which have white spaces. Suppose this is the white space, and when you try to print it, you can see that there is a gap here. And if there is a gap in some words and there is no gap in some words, what you have to do is like sometimes you have to remove this backspace or this space which is there. There are many ways to do it. We will be also learning manual ways, but for that actually we have to learn loops. But as of now, I'll tell you a function which can do that without any using of loops or any conditions. It's pretty simple. So we'll be using strip function, and so already I told you like X is kind of an object, and it has this method strip, and you can use this method directly, and this concept is actually object oriented. But let's see what happens when I use X strip. So it stripped off the left gap, right? Now suppose I'm having a bird hi, and what I want is like I only want to remove this gap and I want this gap to remain. So for this purpose, what Python has is like there are two methods called as rstrip and lstrip. So rstrip is nothing but right strip, and lstrip is nothing but left strip. So by that definition itself, you can think that rstrip will remove this space and lstrip will remove this space. So let's try it. So when I am trying for rstrip, as I have told you, you can see that there is no gap here. In the right, it's removing the gap. When I am trying for lstrip, you will see that only this gap is removed. So this is all about actually strings. You can try with more examples. So these functions are actually just some of the functions which are actually used every day by a Python programmer. There are many other functions because Python is a very large language, not in the sense of like it has high like more to learn or something, but it has a very big community. Because of this big community, there are a lot of updates which come, like people make several modules, and Python is usually used for machine learning purpose and data science, even for the backend. And with Python even you can do many things like a computer vision. You might have heard about deep fakes, and everything, they actually use C++ or Python, but Python makes it easy because it has wide range of libraries. That's all about like Python. But as you have seen, this syntax is like very similar to human language. So whenever the syntax of any language is like more similar to human language, that means it requires more processing for the computer to understand. So that's why this language is actually called as high level language. And there are also other definitions which we will be learning in further classes. Like it is a dynamically typed language, it's an interpreted language, it's an object oriented language. So these are the things which we'll be seeing in further sessions. As of now we have seen still string, and let's also see what are operators. So when I talk about operators, you might be thinking like we have already saw like plus operator, like even we have seen again here also addition operator. Yeah, so Python supports several operators like plus, which is addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and also remainder. Let's see all of them in deep. So addition is nothing but like if I ask you to do suppose now just add two variables, what would you do? You will just take one variable and assign it a number, another variable, and you will assign it another number, and you will just think of like, yeah, I'll just print it, then you'll just do x plus v and it will give you 14. Or you can do one more thing, like you can even store the result of these two on addition into another variable called z, and you can just also print z. So you can still see that yeah, 6 plus 8 is 14 and you are getting 14. And if you want to get some multiplication result, let's just give m is equals to, and we'll have x into v. So this is multiplication operator, and we did not get any result because we are not printing it, or we did not give just like m. Even this will give us the result as I have shown you, and even you can use print m. This will also give, yeah, we know that 6 times 8 is 48, so we are getting 48. The next thing is like division. So in division you can see that again you have to use them and you will get 0.75. There is also another kind of division called as integer division. By the word itself you can think that the result will be integer. So here we are getting x divided by v as 0.75. We are doing integer division, what would be the answer? Let's see. See, you are getting 0 because it's an integer division. Suppose now I want to know like what will be the remainder when I divide 8 by 6. So what I'll do again, let's take d this time for division, and what we can do is like just use remainder v. So I think we have stored, okay, it's a kind of a wrong one. We'll just use v and x, it will give us simple picture. You can see that we are getting the remainder too. So these are the operators, and there is another thing called as, there are logical operators and there are also comparison operators. So what are comparison operators? Like suppose if I want to know if 4 is greater than 3, these are the comparison operators. So what comparison operators we are having? First comparison operator is equals to is equals to. So just remember that we have is equals to and also 1 is equals to. So when there is only is equals to, that means that you are using it for assigning. As I already have discussed with you that whenever you are taking a value and putting it in another variable, like you're assigning that particular value to that variable. But here we are having 2 equal to. This means like you are comparing. So let's see, suppose I want to know, we have x and y, right? So we'll just see x is equals to y. So it's giving false, like it is just comparing if 6 is equals to 8 or not. So it's not, so we are getting that. Next one is like greater than or equal to y. So it's true because we have x to be 6 and v to be 8, and what we are doing is like x is greater than or equal to y. So just see, oh, it's 6 is greater than or equal to 8. So let's see what is the x value. Actually it's 6, and y value, okay, y value became 1, so that's why we are getting 6 is greater than or equal to 1. So y became 1, that's what we have to see. And I think, yeah, actually we had to take b, so now you can see it's false. So 6 and 8. Now let's see if x is less than or equal to y. You can see that y is 1, so it's false, but we are comparing it with v, so it's true. So these are the comparison operators, and there's also one more comparison operator which is called x not equal to v. So there is a comparison operator to check if two variables are equal or greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, even just greater than v, and even like less than v. So these are the comparison operators which we have learned. Now let's go for learning logical operators. So what are logical operators? There is and, there is or, there is not, there is XOR. So you can also do all this in Python. Not operator we can do, even XOR we can do. There are other operators also, logical operators, but mostly what we use are like not and or. Let's discuss about it, and when we discuss in deep about the logical operators when using a particular program, there we will discuss about all this XOR, not, and everything. So as we know, whenever we check for and, it's like if there is a truth table, if this is like true, and true is always true. Next, true and false is false. False and true is false. False and false is true. This is just a revision of logical operator, and for or it will be like true, true will be true, true, and false also will be true, false and true also will be true, false and false also will be false. So let's just test it using Python. How we can use and. Suppose we are having x is equals to some 9 and y is equals to some 10. Now let's see, x is greater than 10 and y is less than or equal to 10. So I'm using and, that means even one statement is false, then whole will be false. So we can see that we'll get false. And the same thing if we are using or operator, we'll get it true, because even if one statement is true in OR, we'll get true. In what is this, and if even one statement is false, we'll get false. So this is all about logical operators. Now let's make a program like a mini calculator. It's a kind of mini, not kind of a project, but yeah, we'll just make a mini calculator. And how we will be making mini calculator? So what we have learned in this lecture, we'll be using that to make a mini calculator. So for calculations, we generally use addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So we'll be using the same things and making a calculator out of it. So in mini calculator, we will be not using any input because we did not learn how to take the input from the user, which we will be learning in the further classes. As of now, we'll just use two variables for making this calculator, and will not use any if statements, or we'll be developing the same calculator to a highest level as possible. So even we'll be learning some graphical interface. There's a graphical interface called as tkinter, so that we can use and we can actually develop an interface for the whole calculator. So as of now, we'll just do normal things. So let's take x is equals to 8 and y is equals to 10. And if we want to know, like for addition, it will be like print x plus y. For subtraction, it will be like print x minus y. For multiplication, it will be like print x multiplied by. For division, it will be like print x multiplied by y. Divided by y. And for integer division also we can do, because we already know x. And also we can just go for remainder. So it's a kind of calculator which gives everything, because we did not learn any conditions and so forth. So let's see what will be the output. So you are getting everything as an output. So in the print statement, what we can do is like we can just even give like if it's addition, we can just give addition, and here we can just provide variables. So notice one thing, whenever we are writing something which the computer doesn't know and it doesn't store any value, it's usually a string, and we always enclose it in double quotes. But these things we are not using any double quotes, because whenever you are assigning this into one variable, suppose here we are using x, this x gets stored into the memory, and now Python knows that this variable has this value, so you don't need to use a string representation or anything, because Python knows. But if you are using something which you did not declare, and then Python doesn't know what it is. So now you can see if I do this, there is an error, right? Name addition is not defined. So whenever you're getting like name dash or name so and so is not defined, that means that you did not declare the variable, or Python doesn't know that there is a variable which you are mentioning here. So now if I'm mentioning addition, you can see that it will be, addition is giving 18. So the same thing you can do for subtraction. Multiplication, division. Notice how I am using a comma to separate the string part of the print and also the variables part of the print. There is also a way where you can use string and variables in the same double quotes. Actually it's called f-string notation, which we will be discussing, but as of now we are just going to discuss this. So we have an integer division, so I'm just using integer division, and you can see again I'm making use of comma. Again, even we can go for remainder. So now you can see that it is more intuitive to see, and you can see that you can just change these variables into anything you want and you'll get the answer. So this is the mini calculator which we built. And for your practice, you can just try a simple program. Already I have shown you like some simple programs like adding two numbers, remainder of two numbers. If you want to utilize the type variable, take two floats and give the result to be you can make your all three programs more intuitive by using print statement for the above questions. So you might think does this integer division give us really the integer value? So let's check it. See, you can always check what your result is. So that's why we are having this type x y function. So type always gives you like what is the type or data type of the variable. You can even write whole equations here, and the type variable only will take the result of that equation and just say like the result will be a float, a boolean value, an integer, or a string. So today also let's see something which is very cool, which will make you understand things. As of now, like usually people will not teach this in the beginner stage, but I think learning this will improve your debugging power, which is very important. So we are going to talk about PDB. PDB is nothing but Python debugger. So when I call about like when you see debugger, that means like it is used for removing bugs. So PDB has an like very cool library called as pdb.setTrace. So when you set this trace and run your program, see what happens. So it's just running and give you a console kind of thing, and now you see. So whenever you are having this pdb.setTrace, you will get this console, and you can see like what is happening in each step. If you see n, which is n means next, okay. So as of now you might see that there is not much to see here because we don't have much things here, and I just talked about this tool so that just read about this tool. We'll be using it in further classes. And to quit you use q, so it's quit, and for the program to run normally we just remove it and we'll just use it. So as now we learned several things like variables, how variables are being stored, what are the different operators, how do you check type of variables, even we discussed about type conversion, and the next modules which we will be discussing would be lists, tuples, dictionaries. So we had lists, tuples, we already have dictionaries, there are sets, frozen sets, even arrays. So there are several things which we'll be discussing, and before this I'll also give you an overview on how actually the Python language is working, and why Python is better than some languages like C, and what is the why already there is C++, Java, why we are using Python. So Python is actually used for like fast development. We'll also discuss why it is used for fast development. It will be an interesting journey. So if you are curious about like where to see all these functions and everything, there is Python documentation which is already used usually, and if you want to see that Python documentation, let's just open a new tab of Chrome and let's see, go for Python documentation. So as of now you can see that Python 3.10.1 is released, and you can also see what's new in Python and how to install Python modules. So as of now we did not discuss like how to install Python modules and everything. We'll be discussing everything in the further classes, like how to make a module out of Python, and we'll be also doing some mini projects. So that's it for today. Just practice these questions which I have given. They are like very simple questions. It's like a starting questions, and if you are interested in even going further, you can use CodeChef, and in CodeChef there is a remainder problem. I'll just show you how to use CodeChef and why CodeChef is important. Just give me a second. So when I tell about CodeChef, it's actually to build logic. So coding is not like a memory based thing, because if you remember syntax, it will not be that useful unless you practice and practice. So for practice, the CodeChef is a very good place to start with. As of now we did not learn like how to take inputs and everything, but I'll also show you how to solve CodeChef problems in further sessions. Like after every session we can just do a CodeChef problem, but we'll be starting CodeChef only after learning how to take input, because CodeChef, like, it depends on mostly on like input based problems. So thank you, and let's again meet in our next session.